ASVAB paragraph comprehension exam questions. A period of time is usually measured by comparing it with another period of time. For example, a year on Mercury is equal to 88 Earth days. A year on Uranus is approximately 348 Mercury years. According to the passage, the way time is usually measured shows that time is relative. The Women's Flying Training Detachment was the brainchild of Jacqueline Cochran, the famous flyer. Because of the overwhelming demand for qualified men to fly in combat during World War II, she was able to persuade the Army to train women pilots to ferry military aircraft from manufacturers to embarkation points for later shipment overseas. The author implies that the primary motivation for establishing a training program for women pilots during World War II was the unavailability of qualified male pilots. Nonviolent resistance is the willingness to accept suffering without retaliation. The resistor is willing to accept violence if necessary, but never to inflict it. Suffering has a powerful educational and transforming influence on human beings. The author implies all of the following about nonviolent resistance except that nonviolent resistors do not commit violent acts. Weather radar is a great help to puppets in detecting thunderstorms. However, pilots must be aware that radar does not reliably detect hail. Radar operates by transmitting a pulse of radio every and receiving the pulse again after it is reflected by a target. Large raindrops, the kind found in intense thunderstorms, are the best radar reflectors and will show up as intense targets on the screen. Hail is somewhat pious and has an uneven structure. It tends to absorb or scatter the radar pulse rather than reflect it back to the antenna. According to the paragraph, weather radar does not reliably detect hail because of faulty pulse transmission by the radar. Physicists seek out those features of nature that are simple and universal. The secret of their success is not so much a matter of finding answers as it is asking the right questions. The trick is keeping the questions simple and sticking to universal phenomena. Simple questions can be answered unambiguously by careful observation of repeated experiments and by logical thinking. Which of the following questions is most clearly an example of the kind discussed in the paragraph? How can the destruction of the environment be prevented? An allergy is a hypersensitivity to substances that are essentially harmless. For as yet poorly understood reasons, the immune system malfunctions and marshals up an army of antibodies to fight these substances. For many allergies, this malfunction causes a large amount of histamine to flood into the bloodstream. It is overabundance of histamine that causes allergic symptoms such as headaches, rashes, and sneezing. The passage states all of the following about allergies except an allergic reaction is the result of a false alarm in the body's immune system. Riding the mail plane is a low-budget way to visit America's largest national park. Wrangell Street, Elias. 13 million acres of scenic beauty. Copper first drew prospectors to this part of Alaska. From 1911 to 1938, the Kinetic Mine produced 200 million tons of it, now a mecca for tourists. The town of Kennecott was abandoned to the ghost when the copper ran out. According to the passage, which of the following illustrates the correct sequence of events? Copper drew prospectors, copper ran out, town abandoned, tourist attraction. Physical sound energy is transmitted through the external ear, the pinnacle, and the middle ear to the inner ear, where it creates pressure waves in the fluid of the cochlea. There, hairs on the organ of the corti are moved by the pressure waves. The movement of the hairs starts the process by which nerve impulses are generated. Where is the organ of corti located? The inner ear. According to Mark Twain, October is a particularly dangerous month to speculate in stocks. Others include July, January, September, April, November, May, March, June, December, August, and February. What was Mark Twain's point? Speculating in stocks is not a safe investment for your money. Roosevelt made conscious use of the media almost from the moment he entered the White House. His press conferences served to educate newspaper writers, and through them the nation, about the complex, novel measures he was advocating. It can be inferred from the passage that Roosevelt was a president who recognized the power of the press.